Welcome to Winter Van Life Tips I Wish I Knew as a Beginner. My name's Maddie and this is my second winter living in my converted minivan. This video is sponsored by Dewbu Heated Apparel. First, try not to let yourself get cold in the first place. If you think about it, it's harder for your body to warm up after being cold than it is to just stay a consistent warm temperature. For example, a lot of times I notice that I'm colder sitting up on my phone editing a video or whatever before I go to bed at night instead of when I'm actually laying down trying to sleep. What I need to do is start putting on a hat, putting a blanket across my lap, and keeping that heat from the day going instead of trying to warm back up again once I lay down. 2. Unleash the power of the sun. And by that reference to Sunny D, I mean use the sunlight to your advantage. It is worth finding a campsite that is sunnier than a one that's already in shade. For example, a few days ago I pulled into a campsite and it was close to a mountain, so it was already in the shade for the day. But then I drove 5 minutes to another campsite further away from the mountain that was still in sunlight, and it made a world of difference. I was able to cook my dinner, eat, and clean up before the sun went down, and it was so much better than it would have been if I would have stayed at the first campsite. 3. It is so much better if you get your dinner eaten and dishes cleaned and put away before the sun goes down, because that temperature drops so much. Especially if you cook outside. First, when you're eating, you're sitting there and you're not using a lot of energy, so naturally your body's going to get colder. And then you have to wash your dishes and get your hands wet, and it's so cold, so horrible. Just try to avoid it. If you wanted to, you could save your dishes for the morning. For me, I just like to get it done because then the food is harder to get off later. So yeah, it seems like less work to me. But if you can avoid getting your hands wet after that temperature drop, that way you'll just be able to go curl up under a blanket and not do anything if you don't want to. 4. Trap heat strategically. In the morning time, you want to use the greenhouse effect to your example. You know how in the summer, if a car is sitting in the sun, it gets really super hot? Well, same thing in the winter. Of course, it doesn't get super hot, but it gets a lot warmer if you let the sunlight in. So the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is take the window covers off, especially on the side where the sun is coming through. A lot of times during the day at a campsite, I'll have my doors open because I'll be going in and out all day, but I try at like maybe 5 or even 4 is better, but I have my doors closed, my windows covered up, full insulation mode, so that I trap the heat of the day instead of letting my van get cool as the day cools off too. 5. Don't be fooled by window covers. Mine came with a shiny side to reflect heat out, a black side to draw heat in. However, I've learned that the black side doesn't really draw in heat to the rest of the van as much as it would if you were just able to not have any window cover at all. Sometimes I actually get outside in the morning and it's warmer outside than in my van because sun isn't getting to my van, you know? It's just like a cold cave in there. 6. This isn't something I didn't know last year, but something I am doing better this year is not having an incentive to be any particular place. And what I mean by that is when I got my minivan, I've been on a mission to go on a road trip throughout the lower 48, drink a local beer in each state, go on an outdoor adventure in each state. And this time last year, I was in New England in the mid-Atlantic trying to hit as many states as I could, and the weather got colder before I could get further south as I wanted to match. So unfortunately, I was in some cold weather and just making the best of it. This year, as of filming, I only have 1 state left to go, and once I finish up that, I'm going to head to the southwest. So if you can, try to plan where you are in accordance with the weather that you want. 7. Candles aren't good enough to heat up your whole van. Last year I tried that. It wasn't warm enough and it just discolored the tapestry on my ceiling. So don't do that. 8. There are products that can help. For Christmas last year, my parents got me a bulk pack of hand warmers, and they've saved the day so many times. Also, I got to test out someone else's propane heater, and while I'm not super comfortable with the idea still, I am warming up to it, because if you have the door cracked and then have that heater between you and the open door, it is really, really warm. And heated apparel exists, which I didn't even know until this lovely company, Dewbu, sent me this coat and is sponsoring this video. I love the color. I think maroon is always so pretty, and the patches are so fun. Look, you can flip this upside down to indicate you're in distress, and then people will come save you. Really easy to use. First, you just charge up the battery for a few hours. Has a USB plug, so it works in my van. And then the battery pack has its own special pouch where there's a cable coming out of it that connects it to the coat. To turn the coat on, long press the logo for about 3 seconds. First, it comes on high mode. After 5 minutes, it'll move to medium mode. There are 3 heat settings, low, medium, and high, and you just tap to cycle through them. Really easy, really warm. There's a dual zipper, so you have easy access to the battery. All the pockets are zippered, so you don't lose anything. And there's 5 heating zones to keep you toasty. I keep thinking back to when I had jobs where I would work outside, spend hours a day out in the cold. Where was this then? That would have been so perfect. These tips are how I'm going to be even warmer, but last year I was very strategic too. If you like to make the best of your winter, which you probably do because you're watching this video, I think you should go hear out what past me has to say. Go see what tips short hair Maddie has for you. Just click the link on your screen. And thanks again to Dewbu for sponsoring this video.